Tonight on Sports Night in Auburn, we have coverage of Hugh Freeze's second SEC win.
And Auburn men and women's basketball is officially back in action.
Stay tuned for all that and more.
Sports Night in Auburn starts right now.
Auburn, Alabama, the best atmosphere in all of college sports.
He drives and slips.
Welcome to Sports Night in Auburn.
Gone deep to the left.
Welcome to Sports Night in Auburn.
Sideline going to the end zone.
Welcome to Sports Night in Auburn.
And welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn.
Welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn. I'm Justin Stuckey.
And I'm Faith Richardson.
Faith, it's been 2 weeks since we've been on live. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. There's a lot that we've got to talk about.
Let's get right into it with football.
So over the weekend, Auburn took on Vanderbilt in Nashville with the hopes of bringing home their second SEC win on the season. Reporter Vince Wolfram was there. Let's see his take on the game.
The Vanderbilt Commodores playing host to Auburn in Nashville. They say if you can't sing or play guitar in Nashville, you should try to explore the job market, but instead, Auburn running back Jarquez Hunter found an occupation and he went to work in this one. A 67-yard run on Auburn's first drive jump-started the Tiger takeover. Quez, he had himself a day. More from him in just a bit. Defensively, there was no slowing down Auburn. Swallowing up Vandy quarterback Ken Seals here. Later first quarter, guess who was back on duty? You guessed it, Jarquez Hunter. This dude brought his lunch pail and hard hat to work. A touchdown from 56 yards out. Auburn led 14-0 heading into quarter number 2. That's when Vandy stirred the pot. Auburn backed up deep in their own territory. Peyton Thorne throws a Christmas gift to Vanderbilt's Bryce Cohen, who walks it in from 5 yards out for Vandy's first score of the contest. Thorne, the rest of the second quarter, was visibly upset as his team hit a bump towards the end of the half. Even Coach Freeze was getting hot at the officials too, but Auburn still led 17-7 at the break. Second half, Auburn dialed in. A minute 36 drive culminating with this dot from Thorne to Rivaldo Fairweather, 10-5 touchdown, a 53-yard score boosting the Tiger lead to 17. All for Jeremiah Cobb to be on Alex Trebek's show. Get double jeopardy. Touchdown for 6, please. And he got it. 31-7 Auburn. All the defense had to do was hold Vandy, and Eugene Asante made sure they did exactly that. That, my friends, is what you call a curtain call. Auburn 31, Vanderbilt 15. Here's Hugh Freeze on the big game from Jarquez Hunter.
I told, as soon as that first run hit, you just took the words out of my mouth on the headset. I said, Cadillac, that's as patient as I've seen him on the inside zone. And I do think that's why he's having more explosive runs the last few weeks. It took him a while now. I remember California, man, this guy was wide open and nothing was developing in front of him, and it's we've constantly progressed, and he's being real patient right now.
From Nashville, I'm Vince Wolfram, Eagle Eye TV.
Auburn's defense was a major factor in this victory. Linebacker Austin Keys was the highest graded defender in the SEC with a score of 90.4, and quarterback DJ James was right behind him with a score of 88.7. James was also the third best quarterback among the Power 5 teams.
This game also kept Auburn's turnover streak alive. In 18 straight games, Auburn has forced a turnover. This is the longest takeaway streak since the 2007-2008 season. Nehemiah Pritchard's interception was Auburn's 11th interception and 15th takeaway on the season. Auburn leads the SEC in turnovers and ties the league best in interceptions with Georgia and Vanderbilt. Next, the Tigers travel to Fayetteville for another SEC road matchup. Faith, do you think Auburn's going to keep their hot streak alive?
I don't know. I think both the momentum of Arkansas after their win against Florida and then our win against Vanderbilt, I don't know. I think the momentum of both teams coming in is going to be really strong, but I think we're just going to have to see.
It's definitely going to be a good matchup for sure.
Oh, 100%. But speaking of Arkansas, let's see what the boys of Strictly Auburn think about this. Upcoming weekend, here's Jake Lazarus, Connor King, and Eli Lingo.
War Eagle guys, we got Strictly Auburn on Sports Night in Auburn. I'm Jake Lazarus with Eli Lingo and Connor King. Eli, I'll start with you. Let's get right to it. Auburn football is 2-0 in back-to-back weeks for the first time since 2021 and has not gone 3-0 in 3 consecutive weeks in SEC play since 2017. Eli, what's your confidence level this coming week heading into Arkansas as Auburn takes on the Razorbacks and our 3-point underdogs?
Look, Jake, I am super confident in this game Saturday. I think we take this dub just like we did back in 2017. I'm sitting at like an 8.5 confidence level. I think it starts with our defense. Obviously, as you look back to the previous games, it always starts with their defense. We have to get home to KJ Jefferson. He's been their main source of offense for this whole season for the Arkansas Razorbacks. If we stop him, we start the Arkansas Razorbacks. And then on offense, we have to take what we do in the first half and carry that momentum and do it in the second half. If we continue to let Peyton Thorne and Jarquez eat, we should be good to go.
I like that. I'm ready for this game on Saturday and for more Auburn football. Connor, let's flip the script a little bit and talk some basketball. Auburn is heading into the 23-24 season on Bruce Pearl's 10th season on the Plains. Connor, tell me a little bit about this upcoming season and your confidence level and expectation for our Auburn Tigers.
I have super high expectations. Like you said, 10th year for Bruce Pearl. We got 10 guys ready to play on the roster right now. We have 2 starting lineups. This is the deepest I've ever seen our roster since probably that Final Four run team. We got guys everywhere, and it all starts with Janai Broome, our preseason first team SEC. He's probably the best center in the SEC, and I think he's going to end up being a top 5, maybe even top 3 nationally center in college basketball this year. We also have some new pieces in Aiden Holloway. He's a true freshman point guard. He's basically replacing Wendell Green Jr. I think he's a much better player and will control the tempo a lot better as well. We got Denver Jones coming in, a transfer from Florida International. He's a huge threat from 3 beyond the arc, and he's great on defense as well. He's a pretty big guard. We also got some guys returning in Katie Johnson and Jay Will as well. They're huge parts on defense and offense. I love Katie. He's probably going to come off the bench again and be our 6th man like usual. We're loaded. We're stacked this year. I think our defense is going to stay as it was like last year, and our offense is improving with these new players coming in.
Well, I'm ready for it. I know you guys are ready for it. And Auburn family, we are all ready for it. Auburn basketball opens as their home opener on Friday against Southeastern Louisiana. War Eagle, back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Jake. Make sure to check out their Strictly Auburn podcast on Eagle Eye's YouTube channel. And after their win against Vandy, the football team dominates this week's Players of the Week. Here's reporter Paige Hunter with her top 3.
Welcome back to Auburn Top 3. After a big SEC road win in Nashville, all 3 of this week's plays are brought to you by none other than Auburn football. Let's get on into it. At number 3 is the first of 2 touchdowns on the day for Jarquez Hunter. Hunter finds a hole in the Vanderbilt defense and takes the ball 67 yards to the end zone, giving the Tigers their first points of the night and giving them the lead for the rest of the game. Hunter finished the game with 183 rushing yards, setting a new personal career best. Coming in at number 2, a deep 53-yard touchdown pass from quarterback Peyton Thorne connects with receiver Rivaldo Fairweather for another Auburn touchdown. A dime from Thorne and a great catch from Fairweather to put the Tigers up 24-7 at the start of the 3rd. And at number 1, we've got a huge tackle from defensive tackle Lawrence Johnson. The Vandy offense cannot stop Johnson as he rushes his way through and takes down running back Chase Gillespie for a loss of 4 yards. A big play from Johnson and the Auburn defense, who showed out once again. An amazing performance from your Auburn Tigers as they get the win in Nashville 31-15. That's all I have for this week. I'll see you right back here next Wednesday for more of Auburn's biggest plays and best moments. Back to you guys.
Justin, what was your top play of the week?
It had to be Nehemiah Pridge's pick in the 4th quarter to keep Auburn's turnover streak alive.
That's a good one for sure. Well, I'm sure there's going to be plenty of more great plays this upcoming weekend across the college football world. And talking about the new college football playoff rankings, here are reporters Micah Farmer and Paige Hunter.
Thanks, Faith. I'm Micah Farmer.
And I'm Paige Hunter, and welcome to Pick 6, a segment from our new show, Paige and Micah in the PM, where we're going to talk about the CFP rankings that just came out. Week 2 just dropped, and at number 1, we've got Ohio State, at 2, Georgia, 3, Michigan, 4, Florida State, 5, Washington, and 6, Oregon. Give us the rundown, Micah.
So personally, I do not agree with this at all. I do not like Ohio State at 1. If you're looking at best wins, it's Penn State, Notre Dame. Those are Ohio State's 2 big wins, and with Notre Dame losing to Clemson, that win looks worse and worse each week. I'll give you Penn State is playing well, but if you're going to rank Oregon at 6, Washington's wins are more impressive now at this point in the season, so why not have Washington over Ohio State? Then if you're saying by best product on the field, best team on the field, the eye test, that can't be Ohio State either because Georgia, Michigan, Washington have all looked more commanding and more of their game. Even Oregon, but Oregon obviously has a loss, so you can't put them above them there.
True. But if there was a zero on the
if there's a zero, I think maybe you can throw Oregon up there. But for now, I think having Ohio State at 1 is frankly laughable. And for us, we have Michigan at 1, Georgia at 2, Florida State at 3, Washington at 4, Ohio State out of the top 4 completely at 5, and then Oregon at 6 because of their loss.
I just don't think that Kyle McCord stacks up to quarterbacks like Carson Beck, J.J. McCarthy, Jordan Travis, Michael Penix, Bo Nix. I mean, I wish there was like the quarterback games where you could stick all these guys on the field and have them compete against each other.
Let me tell you, Kyle McCord is not winning that. He has not looked great, throwing a lot of interceptions recently, getting, frankly, in my opinion, bailed out by the play of Marvin Harrison Jr.
For sure.
So we'll have to see how this plays out later in the season, especially when Ohio State plays in Michigan in a couple of weeks. But for now, back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Micah. When we come back, we have your weekly weather update and the start of Auburn basketball.
But before we go, you already know what we're going to say.
Is it trivia time?
It's trivia time.
Okay.
Which running back holds the records for the most rushing yards in the first quarter alone in Auburn history? A. Cadillac Williams, B. Tank Bigsby, C. Kerryon Johnson, or D. Trey Mason?
Check back with us after the break to see if you're correct. You're watching Sports Night in Auburn, and we'll be right back.
I'm Albert Osorio, and I'm back for your weather report of the week. The Riding Tigers of Auburn Equestrian will travel to the Lone Star State to take on Texas A&M this Friday at 1 p.m. If you're taking the trip to College Station, there will be cloudy skies with a 30% chance of rain, as well as a high of 64 and a low of 56. So make sure to bring an umbrella or raincoat in case of a delay. After a successful trip in the Music City last weekend, Auburn football will try to keep the streak alive as they travel to Arkansas to take on the Razorbacks this Saturday at 3 p.m. Expect partly cloudy skies there with a high of 61 and a low of 38. That's all I have for the weather report of the week. I'm Albert Osorio, and you're watching Sports Night in Auburn. War Eagle.
Welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn. I'm Faith Richardson.
And I'm Justin Stuckey. If you guessed D. Trey Mason, then you're right. Mason ran for 141 yards and just 6 carries in the first quarter against Alabama A&M in 2012. Jarquez Hunter's 121 yards against Vandy this past weekend were the most in the first quarter since Mason. That's tough right there. You knew that?
I did not know that. Did you?
Nah, but I don't expect anything less from Auburn running backs.
No, not a chance. Before we dive into basketball, we have updates on former Auburn Tigers in the NFL and the NBA. Here's From the Plains to the Pros is reporter Jolie Kavanaugh.
Welcome to From the Plains to the Pros. I'm Jolie Kavanaugh here to give you updates on former Auburn Tigers in the NFL and NBA. This week, while there were some great plays, unfortunately there were a lot more injuries that occurred. So let's see what happened. Over in the NFL, Sunday was filled with Auburn Tigers, especially over in Carolina. All 3 Auburn players saw some action in the Panthers' 27-13 loss to the Colts. Starting off with Derek Brown. Brown had 4 total tackles, including 2 stuffs, a quarterback hit, and his second pass defended on the season. One of his stops was even on a 3rd and 1 for the Colts, with Brown stopping the drive and forcing the punt. Linebacker Chandler Wooten also represented Auburn well. Wooten had a fumble recovery in the first quarter on a muffed punt, giving Carolina the ball back and another chance to score. Lastly, on the Panthers, rookie Eki Leota saw some action. Once again, he was elevated from the practice squad on Saturday to play on Sunday. Leota recorded his first ever NFL quarterback hit on Gardner Minshew. However, on a 4th down punt, Leota jumped off sides and gave the Colts a first down by penalty. This ultimately led to Indianapolis scoring their first points of the game with a field goal. He was put back on the Panthers practice squad on Monday. Speaking about rookies, on the Packers, rookie Colby Wooden is making a name for himself. Wooden was the 2nd highest graded defender in Green Bay with an 82.6 grade according to PFF. He started the 4th quarter off strong when he forced the Rams to turn the ball over on downs with his 4th down stop. It was 4th and 1 at the Green Bay 47-yard line, and Wooden was able to tackle running back Royce Freeman for no gain. Lastly, on the Raiders, Daniel Carson scored 12 of the Las Vegas' 30 points. He was 3 for 3 on extra point attempts and 3 for 3 for field goal attempts for a 100% completion rate. His long field goal was 46 yards. Now, for the very overcrowded injury report, 7 players are on it with 5 new players after this week of play. On On the injury report for yet another week is Colts defensive tackle Braden Smith. He did not play on Sunday and was listed as out with the same hip and wrist injury. This has caused some upset among Colts fans as there has not been a clear update on the status of his injury. Then, for the second week in a row, Titans cornerback Roger McCreary did not play. He missed Tennessee's game against the Steelers with a hamstring injury. Head coach Mike Vrabel did say, however, he anticipates McCreary to play on Sunday. Green Bay Packers safety Rudy Ford was listed as out on Sunday against the Rams and did not see any action. This was due to a reported calf injury. Next, there were 4 former Tigers who were not listed as out prior to the game, but rather got injured during the game. First, on Thursday night, Steelers nose tackle Montravius Adams left the game early with an ankle injury and is now listed as questionable for Week 10. Also with an ankle injury, Panthers linebacker Chandler Wooten left the game early. After his fumble recovery in the first quarter, Wooten injured his ankle on another punt, this time in the fourth quarter. Unfortunately, Panthers head coach Mike Wright said that the injury is likely season-ending and he was placed on injured reserve on Tuesday. Tampa Bay cornerback Jamel Dean also left his game early, but it was early in the first quarter. He was ruled out for the remainder of the game against the Texans with a concussion and is now in concussion protocol. He's officially questionable for next week. Lastly, Seahawks linebacker Derek Hall aggravated a shoulder injury he had dealt with earlier this year in Seattle's loss to Baltimore. He's also questionable for Week 10. But unfortunately, the injuries do not end in the NFL. Over in the NBA, both Isaac Okoro and Walker Kessler are likely to not play tonight. Over in Cleveland, Isaac Okoro did not play against the Warriors on Sunday due to knee soreness and was ruled out for tonight's game against the Thunder with a knee injury. Then on the Jazz, Walker Kessler will be out for at least 2 weeks due to a UCL sprain in his left elbow. Before I leave you, let's end on a high note. Both Walker Kessler and Jabari Smith Jr. have recently recorded double-doubles. Kessler secured his second double-double on the season against Chicago when he had 15 points, 15 rebounds, and 4 blocks. Smith, on the other hand, recorded 21 points, 11 rebounds, and 1 block in his double-double against the Sacramento Kings. That was a lot, but that is it for this week's From the Plains to the Pros. Let's hope these guys get healthy. From Eagle Eye TV, I'm Jolie Kavanaugh. Good night.
Well, you know who coached these guys before they went pro? That's right, Bruce Pearl. And guess what? Pearl and the boys are officially back in action. And Janai Broome is already adding more accolades to his name. Broome was named to the coach's preseason All-SEC first team and was one of 50 players to put on for the watch list for the Naismith Trophy's Player of the Year award. But before they got started with their regular season last night, the team held an exhibition match against AUM. With the coverage from the game, here's reporter Colin Beiersdorf.
Auburn basketball is finally back in Neville Arena as the 2023-24 squad took the court for the first time tonight, hanging 102 points against Auburn University Montgomery.
The team started by going back and forth, with the lead being changed 4 times through the first 8 minutes. The Warhawks would find themselves in foul trouble early and often, leading to Auburn spending over 8 minutes in the double bonus during the first half. The fouls kept coming, and as a result, Auburn went into halftime up 20. When it was all said and done, Auburn had attempted 43 free throws to AUM's 27. It was the new guys getting it done, with transfer guard Denver Jones leading the team in scoring with 18 points. Jones proved that he will be the 3-and-D guy for Auburn, as 8 of his 9 shots came from beyond the arc.
Man, it felt good being out there in front of Auburn family tonight. I used to always ask, returners how the jungle is. They told me it's crazy. I got a little bit of taste of that tonight, and it was real exciting for me.
Chad Baker-Mazzara and Chaney Johnson were not going to let Jones have all the fun, scoring 15 and 14 points respectively, with Mazzara going a perfect 9 for 9 from the charity stripe.
To be honest, I was really excited the whole day. Even last night, I couldn't fall asleep, to be honest. Just really excited because the older guys been talking to me about how the jungle is crazy. I feel like tonight we got a little bit of that. So overall, it was just great to be out there and be representing Auburn.
The Tiger faithful will have to wait to see Aiden Holloway in action, as the McDonald's All-American was a scratch from the lineup with an ankle injury. Janai Broome also left the game after just 3 minutes of action following a collision under the basket. Here's what head coach Bruce Pearl had to say about the Broome injury.
A little bit of pinch in his rotator cuff. That's kind of right now what it looks like. And he should be okay.
The Tigers will tip off the regular season November 7th when they travel to Sioux Falls, South Dakota to take on the Baylor Bears. This has been Colin Beiersdorf reporting for Eagle Eye TV.
After their exhibition win, the Orange and Blue look to start their season off strong with a ranked win over number 20 Baylor. In a heartbreaker, Auburn could not pull off the upset. The Tigers fell to Baylor 88-82. After leading for most of the game, Auburn could not hold their lead in the last 3 minutes with a tie score of 77-77. Baylor went on to score 11 points in the final minutes, with Auburn only scoring 5. In his Auburn debut, freshman Aiden Holloway led Auburn with 19 points and 6 assists. Janai Broom was next up with 16 points and 11 rebounds, securing his first double-double of the season. And finally, transfer Denver Jones had 13 points in his first game as an Auburn Tiger. Coach Pearl spoke after the game and said that the team has to do a better job defending without fouling. Auburn was whistled for 32 fouls in the game, leading the Bears to score 27 points off of free throws. The Tigers look to make a comeback and grab their first win of the season with their home opener against Southeastern Louisiana on Friday.
Moving on to the women's side, the Tigers held their second exhibition matchup Thursday night against Columbus State. Reporter T. Hunt was at the game. Let's take a look.
In the last exhibition game before the start of the season, your Auburn Tigers women's basketball team took on the Columbus State Cougars. The Auburn Tigers started hot, especially Honesty Scott Grayson, who had 9 points and 2 assists in the first quarter. However, the Columbus State Cougars would not back down, and this and one from Atia Reeves and a steal and score by Alana Rawls helped keep them within striking distance. The first quarter ended with a narrow 22-18 Auburn lead. But from the start of the second quarter, it was all Auburn. By halftime, the Tigers were up 51-32. The star of the game was Honesty Scott Grayson, who had 20 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, and 1 steal. Other leading contributors included Marshawn Bostic with 13 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 block, and 3 steals. But Celia Simbane, playing only 13 minutes, had a huge impact, racking up 11 points, 4 rebounds, 1 block, and 3 steals. Despite their best effort, the Columbus State Cougars could not seem to claw their way back into the game. Led by Alana Rawls, who finished with an impressive 10 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 steals, the Auburn Tigers offense proved too much to handle. Here's what head coach Johnny Harris had to say about the game.
Got some easy looks. I thought, we tried to address the free throw situation from the last game and the layups, and we still missed a lot. But with that being said, still shot 51% from the field, so you'll take that in tonight. But I do feel like we left a lot of points out there. And but overall, kids played hard, and you score 94 points, you have to be pleased with that.
It was a triumphant Thursday as the Tigers won 94-65. I'm T. Hunt, and thanks for watching Eagle Eye TV.
The Tigers look to continue their momentum after winning both their exhibition games. They took on Jacksonville State in their season opener Monday night. Check out reporter Micah Farmer's recap of the game.
Last night in Neville Arena, Auburn women's basketball looked to open its season with a win over the Jacksonville State Gamecocks. The crowd was excited, Aubie was getting down with it, and we were ready for the season to get going. Auburn started the game by winning the opening tip-off and immediately looked to utilize their size advantage versus smaller Jacksonville State. Honesty Scott Grayson found Savannah Scott down low under the basket, who used her size advantage to finish, giving Auburn the lead early. Scott also utilized her size on the defensive end, making it hard for the Gamecocks to get anything going in the paint. Auburn also utilized their favorable matchups in the paint on offense, with Marshawn Bostic finding Taylon Collins, who drives, spins, and lays it up and in for 2 points for the Tigers. Driving down the court again, Bostic would this time find Caitlin Dubon, who drives, jumps, and finishes through contact and a foul for 2 more. With just seconds left in the second quarter, Honesty Scott Grayson drove down to her left, jumped, shot, and beat the buzzer to put Auburn up 41-26 at the half. In the second half, Auburn's athleticism and speed proved to be just too much for the Jacksonville State defense to handle, as the Tigers drove repeatedly down into the paint and scored with ease multiple times. The Tigers also had many fast break opportunities like this one, converted by Marshawn Bostic for 2 for the Tigers. The final blow for the Gamecocks in this one was a corner 3 from Carson McFadden that had Neville and the Auburn sideline going absolutely wild. The leading point scorer in this one for Auburn was graduate student guard Honesty Scott Grayson, who put up 14 points on the night. Scott Grayson was 5 of 10 from the field, including a 3, and went 3 of 4 from the free throw line. Grayson will look to continue to be a team leader after leading Auburn in scoring last season. So, a good night for the Tigers in Neville Arena as Auburn comes out on top 78-49 to move to 1-0 on the season. The Tigers will look to continue their momentum on Thursday versus Louisiana.
That's all tonight from Neville Arena for Eagle Eye TV. This is Mike.
Coming up, Auburn will take on Louisiana tomorrow night at home, and then we'll travel to New Jersey to take on Rutgers on Sunday.
Coming up, we have you covered on the latest updates from soccer, volleyball, baseball, and tennis. But first, Faith, what time is it?
It's my favorite time of the show, Justin.
So y'all know that means it is trivia time. In 1979, the first ever Auburn costume was created. How much did it cost? A, $1,350, B, $50, C, $5,000, or D, $275?
Be sure to tweet us at EETV_sports with your guess. This is Sports Night in Auburn. We will catch you right after this short break.
Welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn. I'm Justin Stuckey.
And I'm Faith Richardson. If you thought the correct answer was $50, then you were wrong. The answer is actually $1,350. The firm Brooks Van Horn Costumes in New York City designed the first ever Obby costume in 1979 for $1,350. The firm was even known for making costumes for Walt Disney.
Man, I love Disney. I've been there 7 times.
That's a lot.
Yeah, but I also love Obby.
Well, can you give me a little bit of an Obby head shake?
The little...
Ooh, that was pretty good. You should try out for Obby.
I may be Obby.
No one's ever going to know. Well, let's jump over to women's soccer. The Tigers concluded play last Tuesday at the SEC tournament. Unfortunately, number 8 seed Auburn lost 4-0 to number 1 seed Arkansas. Auburn had 7 total shots during the game, with 2 on frame, but could not get one into the back of the net. Senior goalkeeper Maddie Prohaska was able to save 6 of Arkansas's chances, but the Tigers could not overcome the Razorbacks' offense. The team looked to hopefully continue their season at the NCAA tournament, but was not selected to compete. Auburn ends their season with an 8-7-5 overall record and a 3-4-3 conference record.
On to women's volleyball. This past Sunday, the Tigers took home a win against Texas A&M, with the final score being 3-5. Head coach Brent Crouch didn't underestimate Texas A&M, with them being a consistently tough opponent to play against. Akasha Anderson and Madison Shearer had 16 kills, and a key player, Bella Bell, finished the afternoon with 11 kills of her own. The women's volleyball team is currently playing right now against the number 13 Kentucky. Coming up, make sure you catch women's volleyball versus Mizzou on November 12th and Mississippi State next Wednesday.
Moving on to men's baseball, the Tigers competed against Louisiana Tech last Saturday. Auburn won both of their 7-inning games, 5-0 and 5-1. The Auburn pitchers allowed just 1 run on 4 hits and struck out 17 batters while issuing 2 walks in 14 innings. On to offense, the Tigers tallied 7 extra base hits. Upcoming baseball events will be the Orange versus Blue Fall World Series starting on Thursday.
Shifting the topics to men's tennis, the Tigers recently finished their fall schedule at the Wake Forest Invitational in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Billy Blaze and Will Nolan won their doubles flight, and Raul Dubai qualified for the finals in his singles flight. In his Auburn debut, Nicholas Hang won his first doubles win and his first singles win of his collegiate career. Auburn head coach Bobby Reynolds said that this is the competition that the team has been waiting for. They faced some challenges, but they've been able to overcome them.
Last but certainly not least, women's tennis concluded their fall season at the Auburn Invite. The Tigers stayed in control of the ball, and it helped the outcome of the game. Senior Adeline Flack went 3-0 in both her singles and doubles during the tournament. Flack and Celine Uvok also went head-to-head with Furman's Sarah Isabel Snyder and Maeve Thornton 6-2.
Before we sign off for the night, we have the upcoming events for the Orange and Blue. In addition to football, basketball, volleyball, baseball, and equestrian and cross country will be active this weekend. After having a bye week, the number 2 Auburn equestrian team will take a road trip to Texas for a top 5 matchup. They will take on number 4 Texas A&M Friday before competing against number 3 SMU on Saturday. This will be the team's final meet for the fall season.
Then for cross country, the Tigers will travel to Gainesville for the NCAA South Regionals on Friday.
Well, that's all we have for you guys tonight. Be sure to follow our Instagram at EagleEyeTV_sports.
And our Twitter at EETV_sports. I'm Faith Richardson.
And I'm Justin Stuckey. Good night.
And War Eagle.